like, I'm already halfway through this book, and I think this is like the second week of trying to read this book. It was too dark. Well, I forget until it was too dark. So we're finally here. We're going to talk about the Priory of the Orange Tree. So I'm already halfway, like I said. So I'm going to be more specific. Well, over halfway. I'm on 454, which is chapter 43 for South. They say, I checked online because I knew, because it was a political kind of fantasy story, which I kind of knew what I was signing up for, but I kind of didn't. Like, you wouldn't have been able to escape this book on TikTok, on social media, etc. Like, it was such a hype, and I've been put off reading it because of the thickness of this book. In a sense, I regret buying this, and so far, starting this book, as well as buying the second book when I hadn't even started reading this book because it was an exclusive version, and it's going to annoy me more because it's a hardback and this is a paperback. I kind of like it, but I can't. I'm struggling. I'm sorry, guys. At the moment, it's a 2.5 to 3 stars for now. Like, there's some funny parts and there's some important or interesting moments, like with the characters or the dragons, the certain political stuff, and just learning about religion and belief. It's quite interesting. Like, I know it's made up as far as I'm aware, although it does say in the front on like the acknowledgement bit, basically states, author's note, it basically states that it's inspired by legends and events. So it's not true, but it has been inspired. Like, at the moment, my favourite character is Tane, although Tane has completed something that she shouldn't have done, and it kind of annoyed me. I know there's always going to be characters like that, but it kind of annoyed me because I was like, she's the only character that I'm interested in this book for now. Rune, is that his name? Sorry, Rue, Nicholas Rue. He's another interesting character that I really like, not because he's gay, but he's just interesting. I just like his vibe. I sort of understand his vibe because I kind of relate to him in a sense, in terms of like the sarcasm and being serious and like the education side of it, because we find out that he's an alchemist, he's a scholar, which you find out straight away in the book, by the way. So it's not like, it doesn't really expose anything. And I love like seeing scholar comments and stuff like that because I'm a uni student studying my master's, so it's quite nice to see a character, I know it's not real, but a character's point of view of like being a researcher. And I kind of relate to what he says because he'll be complaining about certain research and I'll be like, yeah, I feel you with this, it's a pain in the arse, isn't it? Like, there's not enough dragons in my opinion. So far we've interacted with we've interacted 2 technically. I believe if I understood one of the dragon was the same dragon of a situation, that won't make any sense to you, but it makes sense to me. But if you've read this book, you understand what I mean, because a lot of things happen in this book in a lot of different places and it's quite difficult to follow. So I have had to make a lot of like notes. So like, I've got a post-it note. I won't show you too much because it will expose too much, but I've got a post-it note on there for the dragons, and I have like the characters and who's connected to who, because there's too much connections. I'm telling you this now and I felt awful when I realised this. Certain characters die. Obviously a lot of characters die in this book, but these characters were kind of important, like they were side characters, I guess. When they died, I was like, oh thank God, because it's less characters to remember. How bad is that? Like, that's how many characters there were. I think this must be like 10, 20 characters in here, and I'm not even joking. Like, I had to search which one was the most important characters, so I could like take note more thoroughly with the main characters, which doesn't spoil it, by the way. So then, like, if any other characters came up, I wouldn't stress too much on about like having to remember so much, because I can only remember so much when I'm reading books, especially after a long day. It's not particularly a great idea to choose this book anyway, but as a uni student, but it needs to be read. It's been on my shelf for too long and I just want to get it read and I want to understand the hype, but I'm not understanding the hype Am I confessing it's overhyped? Yes, I think it's very much overhyped right now. So this could change. It could change. I'm hoping it will change. We're getting to the point where there's a lot of adventures going on. I think at the moment so far what I think is happening is eventually all the characters, the main characters in this book are going to end up like meeting somewhat. And I think they're going to try and make the world united, because it's very much separated to religion reason and to belief and more. Some countries really against dragons and some of them really like respect the dragon, and this is the amount of tabbing we have so far. So we're gonna keep going, we're gonna keep trying, but so far it's kind of slow. So I'm at home now for the weekend because it's just been an awful week. In fact, it's been an awful month. So I just wanted to just be home. I got new glasses. These are like prescription glasses now. They're genuine because I'm realising I cannot see. Like the first few weeks back at uni, I got intense migraine, and I realised it was triggered every time I was reading. I was on the screen, usually reading, and even when I'm reading a book, like it would, like the one day it was horrific. I gave in. I hadn't had my eye tested for like a decade, which is a long time. I managed to read a bit more obviously since I last spoken to you guys. I'm on page 503, so I'm no longer halfway. I'm just over halfway. Sorry, it's just not getting any better. Like I am begging it for it to improve. Like I'm at the bit where no, not saying Eid is travelling back to a capital that doesn't have the same belief system as she does, or where she is from. There was a lot of drama going on while she was leaving the place. I couldn't understand what was happening, like how she was leaving the place. Like the drama just did not dramatise. I mean, it did dramatise, but like I couldn't understand what exactly was happening. Like 1 minute something was happening, the next minute something stopped the enemy, the next minute something else stopped them, or something like someone was getting injured, and I'm like, what? Like things are not being clear. Like I'm getting frustrated. I want to like this book. This is the kind of book that I really want to enjoy, but it's not working for me. It's just, I'm sad. But I'm going to still read because I want to know what's going to happen. And I want to be able to say that I've read this book, so I can actually legitimately have my own opinion and be like, I've read it, guys, and this is the case. So too early for this blood stuff. Good night. The day before the 1st of October, and I'm determined to finish this book. I've got 5 chapters left and about less than 40 pages left. I'm on page 768. I'm at the bit where there's a war going on, and I'm sorry, but I'm struggling with this book. Like, 1 minute's really good, the next minute, like, no, in fact, put it this way, so we'll get one good chapter, and the next 10-20 chapters, it's really difficult to get into. And I'm so frustrated because I really want to like this book. Like, it's so easy to like this book, but I think the way it's written, maybe it's the political side of it that I'm struggling with, I don't know. But it's so frustrating. I really want to like it, but there's too much writing going on, and I think it's the political stuff I struggle with. Like, would I recommend this to anyone so far? No, I wouldn't. Unless you're really good at, like, reading really intense, detailed book, then maybe yeah. But for someone like me, no. Like, it's quite difficult to read. I'm surprised how much I'm struggling with it. I've done really well, I'm not gonna lie, but yeah, I'm just gonna try and finish this because it's 11 o'clock. I've got 1 more hour to finish this book before midnight. And obviously I left this till last because I am terrified of expressing my feeling, because I know this book is very much of the hyped book this year, from the earlier this year, I believe, or was it last year? I can't remember, I can't keep track. But I didn't enjoy it. I'm sorry, it was a 2-star from me. Like, it was jumping between 2 stars to 3 stars, and basically there was a war going on, obviously, in this book, and I couldn't even tell you what happened in the war. I couldn't even tell you who slayed the dragon, who did what. Like, someone suddenly came to the rescue, and then it was all confusing again. I was like, what is going on? Like, yes, the author's writing, Samantha, her writing is amazing, like, politically as well. It's amazing writing. But I feel like there could be a lot of improvements in the fighting scene, the war scene. It was difficult to follow who was doing what. Like, if it was one main character fighting an enemy, it was fine. I could understand what was going on. But if it was a big fight like the war, I felt like crying. Honestly, I never want to cry out of frustration, ever. But this one, I nearly threw this book because it was 11 o'clock at night. I wanted to finish it. But the war really, I was on chokehold in a bad way. Like, it wasn't a good chokehold, if that makes sense. It was a bad one. Like, I was just like, I just want to finish this book now. Like, I am sick of it. It was so frustrating. I could not follow what was going on. I have the second book. Am I going to read it? Yes, because I want to know what's going to happen, and I bought it, obviously, but I probably won't read it for a long time. That's what I will say. Like, for example, Akatar books, I was straight into the next one. This is not making me want to read the next book. It doesn't help that it's like 900 pages long now. It's another 100 pages long because I bought the exclusive edition anyway, so I was so upset. I really, really want to enjoy it. Like, I could see the potential. I could see why people love this book. But for me personally, I think I can't get into political stories. But I would be willing to try another author's political fantasy book, to give it another go, just to see if it's just the different author's writing style that I just could grasp, I guess. But yeah, that's the only thing I would say bad about this book, is just I could not follow what happened in the war. But other than that, I love the character development. I love the characters, like, friendship turn into, like, hate or vice versa, or love or whatever. And I love how clear when we were with a certain character in different plots. Like, for example, I would know if we're talking about Tane, I would know we're talking about Ruse, you know. It was very clear, which normally I don't like those kind of books where it changes characters, but this one, it was fine. I knew who I was following. I was able to learn the characters' behaviour and the personalities really, really well. Like, that's not easy to do because there was like a million, I'm exaggerating, but it felt like there was a million people in this book to follow. The author has managed to make certain characters very unique, which is not easy to do. Yeah, it is a brilliant book, but it's just, for me, I found it difficult.